Welcome to Film Study, an all-American podcast with Lexi. I'm Lexi. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, all of the things. Today, Kaya, Carmen, and I will be breaking down Jordan Layla as a part of our Ships video series. Hope that you enjoy the first installment of the Jordan Layla podcast episodes. I think it's going to be like 3. Hope that you enjoy it and let us know your thoughts. We'll be breaking down episodes 401 to 416. Hope you enjoy it. Let's just start and hop into the episodes, right? So 401, obviously we see that Layla is coming off of being kidnapped, and she's driving Carrie to what she thinks is her parents' house, but left her phone. Carrie ends up taking her on this cliff because, in effect, Carrie wants to get Layla to jump with her off of a cliff. Trigger warning here, but basically wants to commit suicide. And so Layla is incredibly freaked out. Actually, when we see her in the episode, it's because she's having a nightmare about this. And so since she's been having these nightmares since she was kidnapped, JP is just super, super overprotective of her and overbearing. And so she tries to sort of just get out the house, go talk to Liv, who is was her best friend at the time. And she ends up running into Jordan instead, who was very, very, I think in shock to see her, because something super serious had happened, and so he basically checks in on her. She's just like, my dad's been hovering, but I don't know how to tell him how I've been feeling because it would hurt him. And so he's like, okay, but who's making this okay for you? You keep saying I'm fine, but you're not really fine. And she just talks to him about what happened with Carrie. And so at the end of all of that, as she's sort of just reflecting on the day, she comes to the decision that being with JP is not her safe place, which is a very hard thing to say to her father. And she decides to move in with the Bakers. What did y'all think?
The Bakers.
About episode 401?
Her real family.
Yeah, her real family. Truly her real family. We're laughing, but it's so...
What do we think of 401?
Yeah, what did you think of 401?
I liked it. I also like...
Sorry, can I interrupt? I forgot to say this. With the knowledge... Waited until the last possible minute. No, sorry. With the knowledge that Jordan... We know now, Jordan has sort of had a crush on her since 401. According to NK, according to the showrunner. So what do you think about 401 when you first watched it? What do you think about it now?
When I first watched it, I said, oh, he most definitely has a crush. I mean, you could tell by the way this man was looking at her when she came up in it. Yeah, he was worried about her, but also based off of all the previous looks that he's been giving this girl over the last few seasons, you already know he has something building there for Layla. I like that she came in looking for Liv just because it made sense that she would look for Liv since Liv is her best friend.
But go ahead.
Carmen!
I'm sorry, you're right. Shh.
It's a work in progress.
No, not talking about that. I'm just saying she declared a new best friend. She declared a new best friend.
She declared a new best friend at the end of the season. She
did declare a new best friend. She was looking for her number 2.
That is so accurate in so many ways. She didn't know she was looking for She didn't know she was looking for twin number 2, best friend number 2 at the time.
Yes,
but she was looking for number 2. At the
time, she thought she was looking for what was number 1.
She thought.
She was looking for Liv, which made sense, because her and Jor weren't that close at that point in time. But the fact that they made him the person that she ran into when she got to the house instead of Mama Laura, Papa Billy, and they made it Jor was like setting that foundation of what was going to be Jordala for the rest of the season. And just seeing how she was with her daddy, Papa JP, versus being with Jor, giving Papa JP like the I'm fines, and him just taking it for what it was because, you know, their relationship is still trying to build. But Jor, my man's wasn't gonna just let it be the I'm fines and was like, open up to me, girl. Come talk to me, boo, because I won't break. I promise you I won't break. And I was like, girl,
What?
he's
He
not
ain't
gonna
gonna
break on
break.
you. Like,
Oh my gosh.
he ain't gonna break, girl. Let him know.
He made strong just for you, Layla. Just for you.
Oh my
Just
god.
for you. My man, he looked so concerned, so worried. He was taking everything. Did y'all also notice too? Because as she's talking to him, and later on when he comes to meet her at the cafe, my man's he took everything that she was saying that first time around into consideration. It was repeating lines back to her
Yeah.
from how she was feeling about Carrie.
Of
I
course.
said that he really was listening.
Yeah.
Because that's her man.
He listens. He listens to her for sure. What about you, Carmen? Or are you too? You gotta wait till we get to the second half.
She said it all. She said it.
She said
The
it
only
all.
thing I remember what episode is, I'm not gonna break.
The last thing
That
I'll
was the
say
most
on
important line of
401.
the episode, you know?
That was it.
I also think it was, yes, it was like a really great line. Also, just there's so many good lines. Like, I promised myself I wouldn't be weird. Oh well, promise broken. Like them even be call back to that. The first call back, or I should say, the second call back to their childhood. Like, remember, when we were 11 and you broke your dad's MVP trophy. Like, so what I love is that we focus on the fact that Layla needed comfort in that moment, and we love that he was comforting her. But I think it's understated that Jordan was in effect in a fight with his dad at the time as well. And even though she had so much going on, clearly at the time, she also encouraged him in his relationship with his dad, which it's like, just their parallels from the very beginnings with their dads is something so serious, and they always encourage each other when it comes to their dads. Oh, the last thing I'll say, go listen to Kai and I's podcast on misconceptions about Layla. Also, go listen to the first Jordala podcast that Carmen, Kai, and I did, so that you'll see some stuff that we might skip or something. But there's some callbacks, specifically like with the Bakers and the Bakers being her real family, and him making the sleepover fort for her. He did that just for her.
He did.
Your sleepover fort. And he knew she needed it. Like, it's the actions behind his word. You know what I'm saying? Like, for her to tell her dad, like, I don't feel safe in this environment, and then for him to pick up on the fact, like, she didn't say this out loud. She didn't say, like, my safe space is, like, our sleepover fort. But, like, for him to pick up on that is almost insane. Like, now that I'm thinking about it, that he just got that, like, like, maybe she doesn't want to sleep alone in her new room by herself. Like, maybe maybe
he knows
exactly.
his boo.
It's like Kaya said, the last review, he got some new batteries season 4, his Layar.
He did. After Carrie tried what she did, Jordan was just like, oh, I can't. Yeah, Jordan was just like, I can't let Layla out of my sight again.
You know why? Because she tried to take one of his favorite people.
We're not at that part yet, Carmen. But you're right. So anyway, moving on, I'm gonna do the next little bit in a cluster. He obviously, again, sort of continuing with their parallels with her dad, it's her birthday, she's freaking out. We know that just throughout the season that she's not okay, and maybe I'll do a follow-up podcast on specifically Layla and her journey with depression, or her journey with her, like, PTSD with Carrie. But she's not okay. She is just sort of going along with this idea of her being fine, even though she really isn't after what happened with Carrie. And Jordan they know each other so well, and he knows that Layla, number one, has always been into birthdays and has always made everybody feel special on their birthday. So he wanted to do that for her, and so he planned this whole event, even though it was like wild. Included a low-key stripper, included a piñata, like all of this all of this stuff, also that he could, in Liv's words, so that he can make her feel loved. And you know, just that, after what happened with Carrie, is like something that was so important to her, but I don't think that she was like ready to receive it at that moment. And so after this birthday party, she just goes through, let's say, a good next like 4 or 5 episodes, sort of pushing everybody away, because she's not ready to accept, not quite ready to accept the love that like people are offering her yet, specifically Jordan. So what did y'all think about that, up until the cabin? There was a brief moment with that man where she slept with that man. So your thoughts on the birthday party, through the sleeping with Asher, through up to the cabin.
I have no memory of that.
No, no recollection
I
at
have no
all.
memory of that.
And that's where we'll leave it. That's where we'll leave it. I'm not gonna go dig deeper into that. But because she did sleep with Asher, Jordan decides to.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
Lexi's fibbing. Go ahead though.
Sure. But because that did see, if she didn't, we wouldn't have some of the great lines that we have tonight. But because she did do that thing, Jordan decided to say, you know what, Layla, you've been acting out of character in the cabin episode. He was like, you've been acting out of character. Why don't you want to go to college? You've always been so dead set on college, and you've been pushing everybody away. And I don't know why that is. And then you slept with Asher, and she wasn't too happy about that. And she said it's because she was putting up boundaries. And so that was their conversation. They left it on boundaries, until they got to prom, which, you know, even though she is trying to put up these boundaries, she comes to him willingly for the first time, because he's upset about sort of Simone missing prom, and she asked him to dance. This is just a question I thought off the top of my head. Where did her boundaries extend, and where did they end with Jordan? Because I'm thinking it's very interesting that they had that whole conversation about boundaries. She didn't really apologize for that boundaries conversation, but then she asked him to dance. So what were your thoughts on that?
She tried. He wasn't going for it. That's it.
Most succinct way possible. Love it.
I mean,
Love
she
it.
tried. What boundaries can you say she really put up, and he followed?
But that's what I'm saying. It's very interesting, right? Is because it's just like, but not even just that he followed, but like she went to him that time to invite him to dance, and basically invite him into that conversation about what it ended up being about Carrie and about Clay. I almost forgot that guy's name. It ended up being about Carrie and about Clay, and about her trusting people. So I don't know, Kaya, what are your thoughts on that?
I think regarding the boundary she was trying and failing to set with him, I think it was just like trying to keep him from getting too personal. Like, I think she was okay with it being about the Carrie situation and how she was feeling after that situation, but for the combo to switch, I think it was really the Asher comment he made that really made her look at him the way she did and respond that way. So I think it was just because he's in the friend group with them, you know, the vortex, and it's her sleeping with another guy. I think that just hit a little too close for her. But if it's something about like how she's feeling and what she's going through currently regarding like Carrie and depression or her PTSD, whatever it may be, I think she was okay with opening up to him about that. But I think romantically, she was like, yeah, nah, buddy.
That's fair. That's fair. That's facts. As we know, they had their dance. Someone call it a very flirtatious dance, but they had their dance. They ended that. He decided not to leave prom, which is
what boundaries.
Yeah, what boundaries? So they he decided not to leave prom after that.
She ain't had no boundaries. She spoke of these boundaries, but I never saw them. Just saying.
Girl, she failed. She failed.
Okay, am I being... You just... I love that the Carmen's just like, what boundary? Every time I try to go to another point, what boundaries? I'm like, I don't know. I'm trying... Left that dance. He decided to stay, even though he was previously gonna dip, because after that dance, and he again, what boundaries? To your point, Carmen, what boundaries? Because he goes to see her afterwards, after the dance, because she ended up leaving, and he wants to invite her to get a bite to eat, and she has chosen to open up to Clay professionally. And so he takes that kind of like, is just like, okay, she's working with Clay now, I guess. And so they, after prom, after that dance, after the cabin and the boundaries conversation, they really don't interact with one another up until episode 12 or so. I don't know why I'm saying or so. It was up until episode 12.
It was 12.
it was 12, but in the meantime, we're still getting these parallels with them because, you know, Olivia and Spencer were going through some struggles. Olivia was sort of unknowingly to either Jordan or Layla getting advice from the both of them, and they said very similar things in that, you know, as they're moving into college, as they're stepping into the next phase of adulthood for them, that being in a serious relationship is not necessarily how they want to spend their time, because he's focused on football. He had like training and camp that he had to attend to for college, and she had her label that she was really trying to get to the next level. But with that being said, because she was trying to get her label to the next level, her dad was just being out of character. It seemed he handed over her mom's masters, and then he handed over a list of new artists. And so by the time we see Jordan and Layla interact again, they're talking about the fact that Layla thinks that her dad is dying.
I love it.
Kaya, I want you to break down this episode because it's just so fun. So I'm gonna toss it to you.
One of my favorite Jordala episodes.
Yes.
Let's start from the top with Jordala.
There you go.
My man's Jor walks up in the house with his laundry basket, and she looks over to her boo coming through that door. Yo, he opened the door for her episode 1. Now she watching him come up in her crib now, because this is her crib. I said, come on, how the tables have turned. They about to be living there together soon. He walks up in that kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He goes in the kitchen. This is, Carmen, this is it for me. He said, they're like pillows for my pet. Did you see the smirk on her little face?
It's the smirk. It's the smirk.
It's the smirk as she raises the cup.
What did y'all think about that smirk? Because I feel like that's a point in time.
It is, which is why I love it so much. That girl, I said she's feeling him.
She thought
like,
about his pecs. Mm-hmm.
She thought about them pecs. She could see through that shirt he had on.
If we, right. He had the new beard. Something changed. Something shifted for her. Obviously, but like with the beard for sure. But since we all admit that smile and the coffee cup,
we ain't gonna act like that the first time. We ain't gonna act like the first time Layla checked.
Oh no! I'm not gonna say it's definitely not the first time. I'm just saying it was a very noticeable time, and she tried to hide it.
Yes.
Okay.
which I think says more.
That is
It
what it
says
is.
more that she tried to hide her smile. Which again, I think we're all agreeing that at this point in time, by the time she's hiding her smile in the coffee cup or whatever, that she has developed some sort of feelings for him. So when did y'all think that happened? Was it before episode 1? Was it episode 7? Like, what do y'all think?
I don't know. I started to think that her and Jordan always had a little crush on each other. Feelings? I have no idea.
When did she first start having feelings for him?
Yeah, like if you could
Well,
point to an episode or in between episodes maybe or something like that. Just a ballpark. When do you think it was like more than just like, oh, he's attractive, and it was like, oh, whoa, hold up.
I'm gonna say 12.
Like 12 before he came through
well,
the
what?
door, or like
No, 12.
One? Season 1? Gotta be.
No, this season 4, girl. Season
oh,
1.
so do you think it was like seeing him walk through the door?
I think it was. I think it's been building for her, but I think seeing him come through the door and having that conversation with him, like the ease in that conversation, how she felt during that convo with him, like him just joking around, and how that just brightened her day from what it was. You know, she was already stressing before he walked up in that door about her daddy.
She
And so,
was.
that just like brightening her day right there and her smiling like that just from him coming in there, I think is where it really started to hit her. But I think it really solidified for her by the end with that combo with daddy.
Okay, okay. So I feel like if I were to answer this question, what I think I agree with Carmen. I feel like they've always had a little crush on each other. Not just Jordan. I also think Layla has probably had a little crush here and there. And I think
Crush,
that
yeah,
her
but feelings, girl.
yeah, no, and I'm not saying. I think her feelings started when they danced. After he was telling her how strong she is and that she can take her time and just everything that he was saying to that. I mean, again, what did I say when we reviewed this episode, Carmen? They were whispering on a whisper. And so just in how the rest of the season has played out, the fact that I feel like she was running a little bit with Clay didn't. We know she didn't want that man. Said it several times. But the fact that she tried to run a little bit with Clay, I
She
think that
didn't
her
want
feelings
him.
developed. I think she tried to push her feelings down for Jordan when it first came up, and by 12, I don't think that she could push it down. And definitely by the end of 12, I think she was aware of them.
But when she caught feelings, I don't know. It's hard to pinpoint one episode for me.
Got you. All right. Well, so we don't know. So anyway, continue on breaking down episode.
Okay, but I
12.
will say this. I definitely think it was before season 4.
Okay.
You think she had feelings before season 4?
Mm-hmm.
Like feelings, not like a crush, but you think she had feelings.
No, feelings. Feelings.
See, I think she had a crush before season 4, but I think season 4
she had a crush, but I think season 4 is when it hit feelings level.
Is when her feelings came. Yeah, like they came deep inside. They weren't deep inside there before.
Not deep
So
inside.
when would you when would you ballpark her feelings? Was it after she broke up with Spencer? When it because that's one of the questions for us to answer. So I think the audience just wants to know. Yeah.
I'm just saying, Kaya, like before season 4, the feelings was on the floor.
I mean, they were deep, they were buried. But like, when do you think it shifted to feelings? Even if you just give us a season, when was it? Which season?
I think the non-wedding that didn't happen. I definitely think she had feelings in that point.
Okay. I can get with it in the sense that she had a crush and she was unaware, for sure.
Yeah.
That wasn't no crush. That wasn't no crush around him remembering his dreams and him gonna be.
I mean, these are facts, but I don't think. This is true. Yeah, that's fair. But as we mentioned, we keep sort of going to this ending conversation, what did her dad tell her, and what did she do after he had that conversation with her?
My favorite line: "Open your heart, baby girl." Nah. Wait, no, Papa JP. He was like, you know, baby girl, we Keatings, we like to close our hearts off to love, and he was closed off since her mama passed. So I was like, yo,
When she said me, how did we get on me?
said me. Daddy took that.
Right.
He was like, you know what? Let me let her know, because this is really for her. Let me put my daughter on right now, because I see what's happening between her boo over here, but she don't really see it. She's not really accepting it. He said, baby girl. Baby girl. He closed his heart up for so long since her mama passed. He don't want the same for her. So I said, yo, he really speaking to her right now, because she's not closed off just romantically. She's closed off from everything else that she's dealt with in her past, starting with her mama dying. So he's trying to make sure she opens her heart to love. And this girl, she took that, she thought about it for a few minutes. She looked at that phone. She said, Clay? Nope, Jor. And she called him.
Clay? Nope, Jordan.
About the seasons, she needs to know about the seasons.
She needed to know, but hold up, before she needed to know about the seasons. Before she needed to know about the seasons. Yeah, I just wanted to say thanks for your friendship and the advice, no matter how weird or off base it sounded.
Like, Layla, if you needed a reason, just say that, girl. You just say that.
A reason. And I'm like, imagine, y'all, this is someone she's known her whole life, and she's this awkward right now.
Right. And like, it felt like she rehearsed that. It felt like she rehearsed it.
She practiced a few times before she called.
She just got that man 1 o'clock in the morning. She better come up with something.
Facts. So with that being said, they have a conversation about the seasons of dating, and it's really interesting because, again, that's a callback to when Jordan was just like, oh, it's so much easier because Simone is away, and I don't have to really take the time out of my day to speak with her. And really, I think we had seen one actual conversation, one FaceTime conversation with them, and rest of the time it was voicemails on the phone.
That's a fact.
And so it was just very interesting that because he was still in the midst of training during this point, I think. But he took time out of his schedule to talk to Layla, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was that. So with that being said, the next time that we get them together, and I really feel like this was she really was opening her heart in a sense, because as soon as she made the effort to reach out to Jordan and they had that phone conversation, I feel like their friendship / relationship as two individuals was never the same after she made that initial. It literally took off, because it was as soon as she stopped, and this is what we get into in the next part, and this is where we ended our last conversation, but as soon as she stopped trying to build up walls with Jordan, it just really, really took off. And so they talk about that after she once again rejects Clay.
As she should.
As she should. And, he has this conversation and he's just like, okay, yeah, Clay, whatever, don't like the guy anyway, but is basically what I took from it.
No, we don't.
And he was just like, but you're still keeping everybody at a sort of a distance. And she was just like, well, I don't keep you. Yeah, because that's because I don't let you.
Come on, preach.
How do you what did y'all think of her like reaction to that?
I said she's gone.
Just she's gone. She's gone.
No, you know what's crazy? Because I was, when, like, you were rewatching, I've been rewatching too. I said, thank you very much, Netflix. I was like, yo, they weren't interacting like that much, as Jordala, when it's just the two of them. The first half of the season, they were not interacting like that much. There was spaces in between them having moments, and every single one of those moments I don't want to say so intimate, but it was so intimate, so close, and like you could feel the connection between them as if it was a consistent thing with them. So like starting with Carrie and then jumping from there to the cabin and then going to prom, and then once we got to 12, like we said, it just took off for them from that point. By 12, he didn't have like that many moments with him, but every moment that they previously had built so strong the connection between them, which is why I felt it was so easy for her to say, clearly not you, to him in the studio at that point, because she could already feel what was building between them by that studio scene. And she knew Clay. That man Clay, when I tell you he got me typed that episode, I said, no way. He was like,
same. And why was he trying to like speak on her wall? Like, you don't even know her.
Who are you? I said,
and Jordan put it pretty succinctly when she was like, "Oh, it just felt like it hit a little too close to home," and he was like, "Well, he was quite literally in your home. Like, that's not." And she had already told him what it was that she wanted, so I just really, I feel like it makes sense that her walls were up, because I just told you that I don't want more, and now you're showing up at my house, and you're now trying to like push me to be in a relationship with you.
Well, he was invited to the house. He didn't just show up.
Sure, but I think she had already told him. I mean, no, I understand, but I'm saying like she had already told him what it was and that she didn't want anything more. So why would he accept at that point? You know what I mean?
You want to be rude, bro. You want to be rude.
No, you're giving this man too much credit.
He was like, "I'm in there." He like, "Yes."
Literally, exactly. He was being a stalker. Being a little stalker. And then try to tell me about my walls? Sir, get out of here.
Literally, you don't have to have these walls up. Girl, if you don't go somewhere, kick him out, Layla. Come on.
You said girl. but okay, and the other interesting thing is, so again, we have these moments where Jordan is supporting Layla, but at the very end, like throughout this season, I meant to mention this earlier, but Jordan has struggled mightily with the way that people perceive him. People perceive him as not great, especially when it comes to football, and he's trying to find his way on this team where he's a walk-on quarterback. So he's not on the depth chart. He's trying to figure out a way onto the depth chart, and so he basically does something to get in with the team, but it just doesn't pan out the way that he expects it to with Spencer and his friend Isaiah. And so she's also encouraging him about this point that, like, Jordan, I know that you want all three of you to be in on this thing together, but like you're gonna find your way on the team, and Spencer and Isaiah are gonna find their way. So, would y'all think about her encouraging him in that moment?
I liked it because I realized on this watch back that was the start of a lot of advice that she would be giving him going forward from that point. Because before that, for the most part, it was him always being there for her, and advising her and helping her follow in the Carrie situation. But starting from the studio scene with them and then going forward, if you like, as we like talk more about like all the Jordala scenes specifically, this girl, as he's giving her advice and he's reassuring her, she's also doing the same thing for him in the same scene. Literally, he'll be like, Layla, right, you're one of the strongest people I know. And she'll be like, oh, you're one of the best players out there, Jordan. Like, let each other know.
But that's what I'm saying, and that's something that I realized on the rewatch is like it hit me, but it didn't hit me. Even in episode 1, all the way back to then, him talking about, yeah, I think me and my dad are up to a hate. Basically saying like, you know, your dad loves you. Like even still encouraging with him with his dad. Even though she was going through everything that she's going through. So she does have these like small, quick moments of encouraging him as well. But like we said, they are like slowly starting to encourage one another, especially after 412 in their phone conversation. They have that conversation about the walls. We can just tell like they didn't have like many moments in between 14 and 15, but it's very clear that they've been like hanging out from what we get on screen. And they've just been spending more and more time together, and we get to episode 16, the studio. Oh, y'all this is really what Carmen has been waiting. So I'm gonna let you take it away. Oh my God, I thought you singing Camp Rock. What? So, take it away, Kaya. What happened in episode 16?
Oh, I get this one too?
Yeah, you get this one too.
We are on episode 16 labels?
Yes, we're on episode 16 labels. What happened after they start spending a lot of this time together?
She comes to find her boo on campus. That's what happens. She came with her boo's personal invitation. She came and hand-delivered it to him. She said, here you go. He was like, oh, can I send this in the mail? She said, huh, no, boo. I can't get it. It's just for you. That's exactly what she said, but that's pretty much what she meant.
I love how you have
invitation for me.
She just like since episode 401, Layla has secretly been calling Jordan Boo this whole time.
Yes. You gotta read between the lines. Respect the lines.
You know what I love though about her going to campus and seeing him there is the look she gives, the way Wade and the guys are talking to him.
Yes.
She was not happy.
She was not happy. She said, y'all not gonna talk to my man like that. I said, girl.
Like, Jordan, what we doing? What we doing?
Right. I'm glad that you mentioned that, because it wasn't only for me, it was like, number one, it was the big man on campus, Jordan Baker. Yes. So she not only saw women, right, like being said about Jordan and her comment about that, but she also, like, I feel like, and I just said that she got involved like after 412, but after 416 and seeing how Wade talked to Jordan and how Wade treated Jordan, that was when it was like full stop. She was pissed off at that, and like for the rest of the season she would not let him forget that he was a great football player.
Yes.
Like it was a woman change. Right there. It was a change, and like, I mean, you and I, Kaya, have pointed to this, and we'll get to their conversation. But obviously, they have that fight. We know that he was sort of fighting with Olivia. She was having a disagreement with Patience again, and you know, one of the first things that she says to him, because he's just like, I mean, why would Olivia do this? Da, 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 da. You know, like, Jordan, what are you even doing? Like, why are you letting Wade treat you like that? In a nutshell. And he's just like, well, Simone says I should try to befriend her. Simone wasn't there to hear how he talked to you. Simone wasn't there to hear how he talked to you.
Mm-hmm.
But you were, girl.
And she didn't appreciate it. We don't do that over here.
She didn't appreciate it. She didn't appreciate it. And so, you know, they're obviously locked in the studio. And he's just like, okay, how am I a doormat? Because she's just like, you're letting guys put you around. And she
She went in. She said, "Oh, wait to like me. I let you spin me."
I'm sorry.
She had to go to a whole nother level for him because she didn't even understand how he looked at like dude.
Oh my god.
She had to go to a baby stage.
We saw a side of Layla that we never see, right? Mocking him.
Mockingbird was stuttering.
She had a point to get across.
Exactly. She had a point to get, and here's the crazy thing, and it was like, I'm not gonna say that she was obviously frustrated by what happened with Patience, but the way that she was coming at Jordan specifically in that scene, it really hit me again on the rewatch that she was so mad about what she saw and how Wade was treating him. It's just, and she goes into like, you're whining to a friend, and like, when did this happen?
Yeah. That's what I was saying. I'm like,
she was just like, I haven't been paying attention enough, clearly, because when did this happen?
Because you gotta remember, it's like she done knew Jordan most of all their life. When we first got introduced to Jordan, he was like, kind of cocky, like, like he just knew he was the man. So it was like, who is you? And what have you done with Jordan?
Right. And again, she mentions it. She's just like, oh, you're all. My dad says. Simone says. Who cares?
What does Jordan say?
What's Jordan say?
Screw you, Layla. Well, that's a start, and that's the thing, and that's how we know. That's how we know that she was literally just trying to get a rise out of him at that point, to have him fight back for something, because he says screw you, Layla, and she's just like, finally,
right?
In a nutshell,
she was like, there you go, wake up.
Yeah.
And so obviously their conversation went on.
She was like, well, that's the start. My man was like, with you was the end. I said, ooh.
Right, that's where it went to. Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, wait, hold on. Where did he go after that?
No, and with you, it's the end. Shoot, what did he say?
Yeah.
He said, and with you, it's the end, because...
He said, I don't want to get close to you. Now it's the bedroom.
What?
Right. And that just took such a turn. It took such a turn. Because really... how did he jump from how she was treating Patience, who he already said he was just like, you've been mean to everyone, Layla. We skipped over this, but he was just like, you've been mean to everyone, Layla, and like Patience didn't like purposefully lack you in the studio. So it's really interesting that she's like pushing him to share his feelings about anything, and it just happens that he's sharing his feelings about her, but that it turned so quickly to, and with you, it's the end. Like, when did this happen?
He was like, you want to do this? Let's do this. Now, we ain't gonna just talk about my stuff. We're gonna talk. Let's talk. And so he wanted her to know, like, okay. With you,
the only way to get close to you nowadays is in the bedroom.
So you push everybody away. Yes, the only way to get close to you now is the bedroom. Hey, Ashley, let's hook up. Now go away.
Hey, Clay,
let's hook up.
Now go away.
Walls
up, hands down.
That's your new motto. Wow, sounds like somebody's
jealous.
That right there was a sign. Come on.
And again, it's just crazy us like breaking down this dialogue that they had, because
wait, I got a question. By her calling him like sign somebody jealous, does that mean like she knew he had some feelings that like?
That's what I'm
just
saying.
Say that?
She was
like
signs, yo.
Like, wait, Layla, like, okay, you felt that way before that kiss, huh? You felt it. He was right.
But that's what I'm saying is like us like breaking this down. I thought this when I watched it, but us breaking this down again, it's like they parked. The conversation was about Jordan's confidence, and the conversation was about Layla's for lack of a better word, meanness to people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they parked on this point about Layla sleeping with guys and Jordan potentially being jealous, because she doesn't just stop with, oh wow, somebody's jealous. She goes on to say, like, but you know what, Jordan, it would never happen because
you will have to grow a pair. And let's get something straight, because my guy make sure he clipped up at the end that he
I'm done.
So what do you think, like, pushed them in that moment to park that conversation right there for a second?
Because he brought up opinions.
Sure, I just think it's really interesting.
He obviously hadn't thought about it enough to be like, dang, man, Layla out here just giving it to everybody, you know?
I'm so done.
He obviously was thinking it.
She giving it to everybody, not me.
Everybody but me.
Everybody but
Not
me.
everybody. Not.
I was just joking about
Just
everybody.
these two. No, I know. But it's so funny because, again, and like her response to him, I think she absolutely knew, because why would she say it would never happen?
It wasn't like I don't have them feelings or like nothing trying to deny what he was saying. This girl was just like, it would never happen, and gave him the reason as to why it wouldn't happen, something that he can easily fix. I was like,
not so you can fix it.
Yeah. He was like, you have to grow a pair. He said, got it.
Yes. What?
Right. And I think it was like this conversation gave them the space to speak on feelings that maybe they've been feeling since prom, since the cabin. Like, why are you bringing this up? Why are you bringing up me sleeping with guys? And why are you sleeping with these guys? And like, not, you know what I mean? And you're pushing everybody away, and I'm the only one who's not letting you in. Why can't I sleep with you too?
The actors killed that scene. Gosh.
They killed it.
Oh my gosh.
They killed it. But again, this conversation allowed them to be honest, and he was, you know, I know the exact moment when you became the girl that started pushing everybody around, and it's back to Carrie.
Oh yeah, enlighten me.
Yes.
Right. And when he did, by the way, she
wasn't ready.
She wasn't ready. Because she had nothing to say other than, like, you know, you want to leave, and we know how that happened, and she had a breakdown, and
an amazing breakdown.
Amazing breakdown.
She said amazing.
Man,
like from an acting standpoint, it was amazing. And you know, but they end this conversation, they end this fight, they end her breakdown, right? And we come back to them, and they're
chilling,
swinging their feet, bruh. What is wrong with them, actually?
Cheesing away, like what fight?
Cheesing season. I'm sorry, Jordan. We have not, and again, Layla was definitely like softer with Jordan than anybody else this season, and even before.
As she should.
Like the studio. Even before the studio, but there was like a completely different Layla that we came back to in the studio when she said, "I'm sorry, Jordan. I didn't mean what I said. I was just frustrated." Was it sexually frustrated, do you think? I'm kidding.
She was frustrated because she was tired of feeling these things, and they wasn't talking on it.
No, I know. I'm joking.
And it's like, y'all, we can see it. Y'all know we can see y'all, right?
Yeah, we can see. We see it. But to your favorite line, Kaya, or and Carmen too as well, is just like, you know, they were just like, oh, we didn't mean it, I didn't mean it, but everything you said was true anyway, except for the stuff below the belt.
Hey, my dude had to clear that up. Like, wait, don't think nothing broke down there.
He did clear it up as soon as it was the very next scene that he cleared up that the below the belt stuff wasn't true. But it is interesting because, again, we see her saying things like, you know, you're, like we've been saying, like, you're a great football player, Jordan, and you led your team to 2 state championships, and it wasn't just because of your good looks.
You knew what she was doing when she threw that line up in there?
She did.
She never recovered from that pec line. Ever since them pecs, she busted.
She said, I can see
I think it was ever since I think it was ever since the leaning line, personally, but yeah, the pecs line too. The pecs line.
Didn't the pec come first?
No, leaning.
No,
leaning definitely came
first. Leaning
first.
came first. Oh, okay.
But anyway, so they continue that conversation. Like we said, they changed their whole demeanor, and were swinging their feet and having a good time and chilling. And they talk about Carrie again, and she really starts to outline.
Hold up, girl. You're
Yeah.
just gonna skip past my girl's looks at her man?
I'm not. I was gonna talk about the looks afterwards, but go ahead.
She said, my man's door was like, where was this Layla 20 minutes ago?
Right.
She said, at the bottom of the cliff, apparently.
Apparently.
She went over to him. I said, that's yours.
Wait. Y'all know my favorite. Y'all know one of my other favorite lines. I'm not coddling.
Yes.
I'm not coddling.
The handshake.
Yes, you are. But it's okay.
She
Call
was
her
so
your
gone.
man.
She
Call her
was
your
so
man.
gone. Oh my gosh.
She was so gone. They were both gone, and again, it was just like this fight, this frustration that they had about other people finally like pushed some things to the surface for them. And again, he was just like, he finally, I think, admitted to himself, because he admitted it to her, that, you know, I'm angry at Carrie. That's the first time we've seen him like say anything like sort
Why
of
he was
negative
angry,
about,
girl? Why he was angry?
Yeah, tell us.
because she almost took one of his favorite people away.
Yes. He took that personally, Carrie. He took that personally.
He did, and he was just like,
That's
how are
psycho.
you not? He was literally like, how are you not mad at her? Because he was mad. He's been mad at Carrie this entire time.
Yes. Clearly, Jordan needed that trip too. He just ain't want to say it.
He did. He did
did,
need the
girl.
trip too. He did need the trip too. So they talk about Carrie. They talk about the fact that, and again, that's why I encourage you to go listen to our Misconceptions About Layla podcast, because we mentioned that Layla, something that's so important to Layla, besides honesty, which she and Jordan are very honest with each other about, is she wants people to be there for her. And that's what she said. I wanted somebody to be there for me, just for me. And that's like, oh man.
I said, that's him.
That hurt. It I did say it's him, but I was also just like, that hurt, because she feels like people just are not there for her, and it's like something that she continually struggles with. And speaking of that's him, you know, we again get flashing back to them again. By this time, after spending all of that, what was it, 2.5 hours at the studio together, they go back home, go back to the Bakers, and they're spending even more time together after being
That
stuck.
studio was not enough for them. It was not enough.
It wasn't enough. It wasn't enough, because then they go back and they watch Patience's show together, and then, you know, they have a whole conversation about showing up for your friends, and she's just like, you showed up in a big way for me. So she
Yes,
realizes
he did,
that people
girl.
are
Yes,
there for
he
her.
did.
What did she say? You got right up in my face.
Yes.
And you are way scarier than Wade Waters. I wonder why that is. Why is she scary to you, Jordan? Let's unpack that.
Cause she don't play.
She don't play, and
you see what she did just to show him how he looked, being around there.
Right.
Yeah, you see, she took all gloves off and did a whole whining voice. So.
And it was his turn to push her. Now, push her again, and this time in terms of going to see Carrie, who is now out, and he told her what she told him, because he always listens.
Always.
Come on, grow a pair. I'll stand up to Wade if you go visit Carrie.
And she smiles and looks off. She can't even
hold up. In the bites, we've missed the
George's lip bite.
George's lip bite. And she did it in 12. She did it again in 16. Yes. We have never seen her bite her lip for Spencer or Asher.
No one else.
No one else. So that's coming off of 16. It was just solidified. Obviously, he went to visit Bringston at some point in time. It looked like he was more distant from Simone after that studio encounter, and he was also accepting calls from Layla at that time and saying, call me anytime. I know I don't even have time to like actually talk on the phone with my girlfriend, but call me anytime.
Anytime, I'll pick up anytime.
In fact, I'm gonna call you. I seem to follow you wherever you go anyway. So, because let's say that it was Jordan that said, I'm gonna follow you, and Layla said, I'm leaving. And that following her is gonna come back around when we talk about the finale. Thanks for listening to Film Study, an All-American podcast. Stay tuned for the next installment.